Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary people. Thank you all for being here today as we delve into an important and thought-provoking topic, privileges and their significance of promoting consciousness around them. Privilege in its various forms plays a very significant role in shaping our society. It influences opportunities and it is a big part of systematic inequalities. So, by bringing this topic to the forefront of our discussion, we aim to foster a greater understanding on their impact on individuals and communities. So, privileges can be defined as unearned advantages upon individuals based on certain characters or attributes. These privileges also often go unnoticed by those who possess them. They are deeply ingrained in our social structures. However, by acknowledging them and examining them, we take a crucial step towards dismantling the barriers that prevent equal access and opportunities for all. So today we have assembled a great team of experts from diverse backgrounds who will share their insights, experiences, and strategies for raising consciousness about privileges. Our aim is not to blame or guilt, but rather to encourage open and honest dialogue. So today in the table we have Alan Medina from Chemistry and Engineering. He is from sixth semester. And we also have Pati Patricia Villagomez Diaz, first semester, who studies marketing. And finally, we have Emiliano Martinez, who is a robotics engineer from sixth semester. So to dive into the privilege topic, we first have to understand what it means. We have to discuss and understand. So first, I would like to ask you, what does privilege mean to you? So, Alan, can you please start with your insight?
Yes, of course, like you said, in short words, privilege is a benefit that the society mm, gives to a certain group of people, to a social group, because their features, for example, privilege can be based on a variety of social identities such as race, gender, religion, socioeconomic status, ability status, sexuality, age, education level, and much more. This according with Unit Way of Southeastern Michigan. Um, privilege, privileges are not inherently bad or good. They neither define if you are good or a bad person. We can escape from them. We all have different privileges over the rest of the people. It's not my fault to have them, but it's my responsibility to know what to do with them. Am I using them to be above others, or do I take advantage of them to help people? Is what we should question. And I will be very glad to give some examples of privileges. For example, what privilege do you think people with a standardized body by society have? They do not have to think about whether the seats are suitable for them or not. For example, a fat person worried about whether the seat will be wide enough for their body. A person worried that adjustable chairs won't recognize their weight because they are too thin. All this is based on real experiences that I heard from people living this reality. Another example is heterosexual couples. They do not need to worry about showing affection, for example, holding hands, kissing in public, and having some people call it inappropriate or unpleasant. Then we have straight people. They do not have to deal with questions about whether their sexuality is valid or not, if it is a fashion or just another stage of their life. And I have a final, a last example. An anxiety person like me, for example, people often say, "Oh, you just have to calm down." But this phrase is charged with privilege. It's not really that simple. If it were, I will have already done it. And that's all the examples I have to give about privileges.
Thank you, Ellen. These examples were very important so that we could fully grasp the concept of privileges. So, Patricia, can you continue on an insight on what does privilege mean to you?
Yes. Well, someone who's privileged has an advantage or opportunity that most other people don't have, often because of their wealth or the high social class. Most people confuse the rights with privileges, which is a right doesn't blind anyone, but privilege does blind us all. Right grant freedom, while privilege take away the freedom that we have. Also, here in Mexico, especially, we don't have like a specific percent of people who have like this privilege. We also know that it's a theme that we don't really talk about because there's this thing that we criticize, especially the race. It's a thing that we talk about, but we don't usually open to that because some people see it bad or some people see it good. And I think that will be for now, everything that privilege.
Yes, you're totally right. It's very important to separate the right to what the privilege actually means. You are very correct in that. So finally, Emiliano, can you give us your thoughts about privilege and what it means?
Yeah, of course. Well, however, how my partners already said, the privilege can manifest in various ways. It doesn't mean that it need to be a bad thing, or um, it almost means that what you do with that privilege, you can do a good change with them. Uh, I mean that you can be conscious about it and do changes for the society. So if you do another things like a bad things, like for example, um, these sectors that discriminate others, like the minors, um, this is another kind of change that the privileged do, that they are educated for. So yeah, I agree with them that like privilege, it is not such a good or bad thing. It is what the person do with it. So that's his for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Emiliano. So in our panel, we will move on to promoting consciousness and action. We aim to raise conscious about privileges towards a positive change. So I would like to ask my panelists here today that because often there is some discomfort and guilt associated with having privilege, and how can this be minimized? So Alan, can you share your thoughts with us?
Yes, to minimize the guilt of knowing, for example, I have privileges. Okay, first of all, I think is to recognize you have privileges because, like I mentioned before, having privileges doesn't convert you in a bad person. Usually, for example, I'm having a conversation with a person, and if I have to communicate to that person, that what you already said is charged with privilege. I'm just communicating this to that person. It's not a direct attack. So yes, is this like a stigma that uh, how can I express it? That make us feel guilty, yes, feel bad, like, oh, you're saying that I am the worst person in the world. No, it's just identify which privileges do you have and what you can do with them. For example, you can help people if they don't have voice in their work or in the place that they feel uncomfortable or unsafety, you can in some way protect them, or you can use your voice that have privilege to support that person. So that's how we can minimize and make more conscious about our privileges.
You're totally right. It's very important for you to be aware and do something about it. You're very correct. Okay, so Patricia, can you give us your thoughts?
Yes. So for me, like Alan said, I know that I have privilege and I aware to what to do with them. So I believe that it's more about the person, how they take it, if they take it bad or good. Sometimes you can have guilty about it because you're thinking about the other people, not really as yourself. So I think to minimize, it's more to learn about it. For me, this time I didn't know about anything about privilege at all. So searching and looking for information helped me to understand better. So this is the thing that people has to know about, that to know or to help with something, you have to learn first about it and be more aware that there's something that we have in common, and it's something that we don't usually talk about in the society, but it's something that we have to work for. It's not bad or good. It's really depends on how the person works in it.
Yes, education is a key factor. Okay, so I think we have reached the time of our panel today. I'm sorry, Emiliano. We were very interested to hear your thoughts. So today we have heard a lot about privilege, what it means, and what we can do to raise action and be aware of this privilege. So thank you to our panelists, Patricia, Alan, and Emiliano, for sharing their thoughts and enlightening us today. And thank you, audience, for being here and listening to us.